Today, Garmin is releasing an update to their top-of-the-line triathlon watch. This is the all-new Garmin Forerunner 955. And in this video, we'll go over everything you need to know so you can decide if it's worth buying and which version of the 955 might be right for you. And today, Garmin actually released two new watches, an extremely nice Forerunner 255, which actually does include open water and triathlon activities. I will leave a link to the full video up here somewhere, as well as at the end of this video if you want to check that out. And this watch, the all-new Forerunner 955. This new 955 comes in two options, a solar variety for $600, which was the same price as the previous 945, and this non-solar version for $500. And I will leave links to the best place to buy in the description of this video, as well as any sort of discount codes that I can find for you guys. And I want to take a quick second here just to think about those prices. During inflation, Garmin has made a better version of the 945 with solar, and they didn't raise the price. Or they made a better version without solar for $100 less. Either way, I think the prices here are very compelling. And as a guy who constantly complains about how expensive these watches are, I do want to take a second and just provide a little bit of credit where credit is due here. I'm definitely glad to see Garmin heading in a different direction there. So, why would you pick up the solar version versus the non-solar version? Well, the solar version can go for 49 hours in GPS mode or about 2 or 3 weeks in smartwatch mode, all depending, of course, upon how much time you're out there in sunlight conditions. The non-solar version will go about 42 hours in GPS mode and about 2 weeks as a smartwatch. So for an extra $100 or so, you're getting about 10 to 20% bump in battery life. But both varieties will come in either a black or a white color option, and both varieties have an all-new touchscreen on top of a larger screen itself. It's a 1.3-inch screen. The watch itself is about 46.5 millimeters in diameter and about 14.5 millimeters in depth. I would say it's very hard to notice a size difference between it and the 945, but this new watch is slightly bigger. There is no triathlon bundle with this watch. They've always done this in the past, and as far as I can tell, it also will not work with that older triathlon quick release system. The watch itself weighs 52 grams, so just a touch heavier than the 945, but it's not noticeable. 2 grams is not going to be something you're going to notice, and it definitely doesn't feel like a bulky or a heavy watch. And the 955, like the 945, can host music right on the device, so you can leave your smartphone at home while you go out and run, and still play podcasts or music through services like Amazon Music or Deezer or Spotify. The 955 has 32 gigs of memory, so a slight bump that way. And the watch band is, I would say a normal 22 millimeter Garmin silicone band. It's pretty tricky to dismount this band from the actual watch. So you basically have to wedge something in between the sides of the band and the watch to kind of pry the pin back. It's similar to how you remove the band on the 745, if you're familiar with that. They could have just put a quick release band on here. But I kind of think that the Garmin engineers are just like messing with me at this point, or testing our resolve to actually change the watch bands. Future iterations of Garmin watch bands are going to require you to, solve some sort of riddle while, biking on a fixed gear tandem bike, all to be able to remove the actual strap on your future watch. Garmin engineering, it's remarkable tech that they're working on. But there is some cool new software on this watch as well. They have something called Morning Report, which I think is nice. It starts by showing you just a little animated landscape art piece that is reflective of the weather. In my case, rainy here. But if you click into your report, you'll see a training readiness score for that particular day. It'll show you, your suggested workout, your sleep metrics from the previous night, your HRV data, and a weather report. And you can go into detail on any one of those items specifically, but this kind of morning report is just supposed to give you kind of a quick overview as you wake up. And inside that morning report, there are a few new Garmin features. The training readiness score is looking at a lot of factors to determine, how ready your body is for a workout. So that score is a combination of factors like your sleep, your recovery time from your previous workout, your overall stress, as well as your HRV. And if you're not familiar with HRV or your heart rate variability, it's kind of new to this watch platform, and it basically is measuring the amount of time in between heartbeats. And while you think, you want a nice steady rhythm or something like that, it's actually that a slow and steady rhythm means that your body is recovering from something stressful, whereas a higher heart rate variability means that your body is recovering and it's ready to go. I'm oversimplifying it, of course, but your watch understands all of that, and the watch takes that metric into account when it's calculating recovery. There's also a new HRV widget that you can kind of check out at any time. Now, Garmin also brought over the real-time stamina from their Phoenix and Epic series watches. Real-time stamina is really two scores. Stamina is your short-term fatigue, and stamina potential is your long-term fatigue. So, if you do an interval workout for some reason, you might be able to, slow a bit after a particularly hard effort, and then you'll be able to go back to going hard again. So that's your stamina metric. And then interval after interval after interval, you're eventually going to wear out and get tired. That's more representative of your stamina potential. Now, the new Forerunner 955 also has that new multi-band GPS tracking for extremely accurate tracking. So when you go into your sports-specific settings, you can actually choose between no GPS, GPS only, all systems, or all systems plus multi-band for the most accurate GPS signal. Now, all of that does take different tolls on the battery levels. There is also a GPS Ultra Track mode. In my testing, it does sacrifice a good bit of GPS accuracy, but using that, this watch can go for something crazy like 80 hours. But during my testing, most of the time I actually kept it on all system plus multi-band. This mode, it can go for around 20 hours of GPS usage, or about 8.5 hours if you're playing music and using that GPS system. Now, when I look at the GPS tracking data, I would say it's very good. It's right in line with the best GPS tracking that I've ever seen from any watch in all of my testing. And same goes for heart rate accuracy. It's also looking very good. Garmin has what they call their Elevate 4.0 optical heart rate monitor. Here is like a 7-mile trail run. The purple is the chest strap, which should be the most accurate, and the red is the 955. And I think it looks very good here. I've also done 3 open water swims with this 955, and it seems to be tracking me pretty accurately in the water as far as I can tell. I am planning on doing some more testing. In fact, I really want to do some sort of shootout where I look at 10 to 12 watches and test all of them for open water swimming accuracy. Let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. Now, I've really been looking forward to this update, so I'm actually thinking about making a few more videos talking about this watch and comparing it to the previous model, or comparing the solar and non-solar editions directly, or maybe even comparing it to the new 255 or the more expensive Epics and Phoenix series watches. But I would really like to answer any questions that you guys have. Let me know what's important to you, any questions or any issues that you would like me to explore with these watches, and I'll get to work on those specific topics in an upcoming video. But overall, my feeling is that this is an excellent update. You've got a bigger screen, you've got a touch screen, you've got a similarly sized device, but you've got a solar option, and you've got some extremely accurate GPS tracking. You've also got a lot of nice new software on this watch. And Garmin has done all of that for the same or less money than the previous model. Now, if you haven't seen my video talking about the new Forerunner 255, I'll leave a video here and you guys can just check that out. And then I'll also leave here in this end screen cards just a link to some more cool stuff from Garmin. Now, either way, be sure to get out there, swim, bike, run, rinse, and then repeat it all over again. And we will see you guys on the next one.